This is Xander, our 7-year-old boy. You might recognize him from some of my other videos. I like him to get involved on each one of my projects wherever possible. And this one is all for him. This is Xander's room. This is his 4th bedroom in 7 years. I don't have any images of his first bedroom, which was just his nursery, but this is his 2nd one, which was at the time he was obsessed with Toy Story. So we had a Toy Story themed room. I included on this one a full-size wall mural. I also included lots of little details as little nods to the film. After Toy Story, he decided he was into space. So his 3rd bedroom in our old house now was a NASA space capsule thing, which I made out of a load of IKEA furniture, which I hacked together. But now we're in a new house. I thought it was important for him to have his own space, and I wanted something that was going to last him for many, many years. I'm not planning on doing his room every 18 months, as I have been doing, especially with the size and scale of the house that we've got now. So my first task was going to be to remove the picture rail around the walls there and also take the wallpaper off the ceiling. So here's some footage of me contemplating my life choices prior to making the first strike, which would be the starting pistol for a 3-week-long project. Now, just to show you what the plan was for this, I started by buying some lights, which I was going to put around the room. Those are Govee glides, by the way. And I also bought some picture frames, maxi poster frames. The concept was going to be that we would use lighting to change the colors, and we would use the picture frames to change the theme. So if he decides he's into something else, all I have to do is change a poster in a frame. Much quicker and easier than changing wall murals and those type of things. Here's some footage, obviously, of the damaged walls, but it doesn't matter because this will all be covered up shortly anyway when the room was plastered. And the last bit in here was just to remove a sticker on the wall, which I absolutely hated. This is just something I stuck on to try and tailor the room a little bit for him when we first moved in, make it a little bit personal. But as you can see here, it did cause some damage to the walls, as wall stickers always tend to do in my experience. So we got rid of that, and then we were ready to start working. So after removing wall decorations and the picture rail, I then had the laborious task of removing all the wallpaper from the top part of the walls and also the ceiling. This took me about 2 days in total, but it was worth it because, again, this was going to be fully plastered. It needed to be nice and smooth, ready for the design style that I had in mind. So, as you can probably tell in the first 3 seconds of this video, the wardrobe didn't move very well. So we don't have a wardrobe in Xander's room anymore. This is the space that it once was. Anybody notice what might have been behind it, perchance? There is, or was, a fire, which I really want to excavate and have a look at, but I'm being told I'm not allowed. It is easier to seek forgiveness than permission. I could just do it. I might have to do it because if you look at this from the top, it's protruding quite a bit down here. And I don't know whether or not they'll be able to skim up to that because it's about 1/2 centimetre, about 6-7 mil maybe. Might be too much, but it might have to come off anyway, but we shall see. So, big space. This wall has been cream, it has been blue or grey. Looks like it's also been pink at some point. Doesn't really pick up well on camera, but it's all been painted pink up there. So I suppose the little girls lived in here at some point as well. But yeah, his room is absolutely massive now. So at this point I decided to take the wood off the wall. The main reason being is that you can't plaster over wood. So, you know, it was going to need to be plasterboarded if there was indeed a void behind here. So I started off by taking off the horrible flathead screws that were on there. Managed to get a large crowbar behind there to prise it forward. And I was very pleased, as you'll see now, to find that it had already been bricked up behind. That was a big relief because that meant that I didn't really have that much else to do other than finish excavating the space, which I did here. I did bring up some plasterboard, as you can see, rested against the wall there. Didn't need to use it because it was too thick. That was 12mm plasterboard. It was protruding and kind of defied the object to taking this off. So the plasterers can fill that void for us shortly. So everyone, it is Sunday morning. Here's what we finished on yesterday, which the reason it looks quite dark is I actually PVA'd it so that it's got, the plasterers have got something to adhere to properly. The ceiling is now completely stripped of all loose paper. That took about 2 hours to do. I've also gone round and started to fill all of the large gaps that we used to have on here. So these are now filled as best as possible, again just to try and give the plasterers a bit of a helping hand. So I am going to go around and give these another coat in a sec just to fill it in a little bit more. As you can see, some of them are still a little bit shallow, and yeah, I'm going to work my way around there. So I've also done the channeling, which is from the electricians, so that's rock hard now, which is lovely. So again, just helps the plasterers when they get to that bit. So this is the worst point, usually. In my experience of when I renovate rooms, you always have to make it look terrible before it looks lovely. This is the worst it's going to look. And we can only get better. So let's see how we get on once the last bit of that filling is done. So a shout out to Ollie, our plasterer from Go Plastering in Scunthorpe, who never fails to do a great job for us. He's brilliant. He did 2 days with us here. First day was the ceiling, and he filled the deeper crevices such as the fireplace, which I showed you. And then he came back on the second day to go over the 4 walls and also obviously any finishing touches. He did a beautiful job, which I did then paint with 5 coats of paint. I didn't film that for some reason, but there were 5 coats of white emulsion. And then I drove to the local timber yard to get some timber cut for the skirting. I used 8-inch timber. Found out after I'd unloaded the car that they'd cut 2 of them to the complete wrong size. So back in the car it went. Back I went to the timber merchants, got them to do it again. Yes, it's the same footage, but I had to do it in 2 journeys, which was really not a great use of my time. But finally, we had what we needed. Up early. Finally have the wood that I need, but I can only fit 3 on this bench, so I've got to put the 4th one up somehow at the end. These are 8-inch tall skirting boards. Normal skirting boards go up to 7-inch, but these are basically just timber that I'm going to use because I need it to be nice and tall. I think it'll look really modern. So I'm going to give them a quick sand, get rid of all of these kind of raised bits, and then we're going to prime them. I like to prime them and paint them before they are installed. So this is the paint that I'm going to use, interior wood primer. This was from B&Q, 26 quid I think I paid for that. It's ridiculous, the cost of paint these days, and it doesn't feel like it's full. I think someone's emptied half of it out, but so that's the plan for today. Get the skirting started, painted, ready, cut to size, and then we can start installing that in the new room. Show you progress. So we start outside Xander's room. This is the skirting. I've done 4 coats on the skirting, 2 lots of primer, 2 lots of eggshell white. So there's 4, obviously, 4 different ones ready to be laid in here tomorrow. Just put a new light up with new bulbs, which is studio lighting, and this is the progress report. So we have done 5 coats on the walls, 2 mist and 3 with paint, and I've done 5 on the ceiling. So we have done a good bit of painting in here, and as I say, tomorrow the skirting's going to come, or rather be placed, so that will cover everything up there. And yeah, just got to sand the window frames, the architrave and the radiator, and paint those. They'll be white as well, obviously. Got a grey carpet, grey blind, and there's a few little tricks that I bought in the Amazon Prime sale this week. But hopefully this picks up at how crisp and sharp this is. And yeah, I've worked hard, but I think it's going to look even better when the skirting's on tomorrow. It's Sunday morning, I'm a tad hungover, and I'm now going to tackle the skirting. So I found that the void at the back of the skirting is quite big. It's too big to just fill with glue. So what I've done is I've got an old piece of skirting board that I bought for another project, and what I've done is just cut it into pieces and then screwed that into the wall, just with a couple of screws, and then covered it in glue. That will take up the bulk of the space at the back. So then I've got something flat to push against, and it means that when they're putting the carpet on and they're smashing their knees into the wall, it's not going to tip in and break all the caulking across the top. So yeah, I'm going to put that on now. So a bit of prep work on the radiator, which is currently cream coloured, but it's going to be white thanks to this stuff. I've used this before. This is the Polar radiator paint, which includes the primer. I had some really good results of this on our office project. So I've gone for a white version this time. It's got my name on the bottom as well. And basically going to use that to make this look a bit more modern. So here we go. So I got the radiator done last night. That's about as white as we're going to get it after 2 cans of paint, which actually does pick up more white on in real life than it does on video. It still looks like it's got a little bit of a cream tinge to it, but I can assure you it looks white. Pipe covers are also done in white as well. So everything's ready for the carpet fitters today. This should be, when I get home from work today, nice and grey. Let's have a look. A quick disclaimer, the carpet fitters buggered up and brought the wrong size of carpet, so I decided to crack on and did the next job, which was to start fitting the blinds. This is the bit I'm not keeping over this side here. So this is the important part, so it doesn't matter if I climb on this. Brand new blade, very important. Don't try and do it with a blunt blade. Here we go. Now, take your time, do not rush. Very important you don't rush, it's got to be perfect. It's so much cleaner with a blade than scissors. Put it on number 5, change the blade for one of these metal cutting blades. Should be good. Let's have a look. So now what I've got to do is put the connections in. Actually, I'll roll it up first, and we'll put the connections in. So, roll this up. Lovely. And I need the end for the plastic. That bit there. I'll weight it down so it keeps it nice and straight as it rolls down. And then I just need to put my brackets on. So you have one on one end, which is the bit with the roller. I'm going to stick that on that end because it's thicker. It'll look a bit better, balance it out. And then that is what we screw onto the frame. So I'll go like that. And then for the other side, I just need the other one. I don't know where it is, but I have it. I think it's over there. Out of shot. Of course it's out of shot. Never prepared. So, yeah, let's start screwing these into the frame of the window, which is a wooden frame, by the way. You can screw it into PVC, but it's harder to cover up later, so quite lucky to have wooden frames. So officially, this was only the second time I'd ever put a blind up. The first time was the guest room project, if you've seen that video on my channel from a few weeks ago. This is not difficult, it's just a bit annoying, and you have to get your measurements right. But when this was in, I think it looked really nice. It's not officially a blackout blind, but it did look great, and just kind of stops the majority of the light coming in, particularly in the mornings, gives him a bit of privacy as well. I also did the other side, just FYI, which was the larger window, which I didn't film. And hallelujah, the carpet fitters came back, fitted the carpets. So we did get the nice grey carpet we ordered, and I'm really chuffed with how that came out. And then we had a delivery from JYSK where we purchased his bed. Lots of parts involved in getting this bed built. Wasn't an easy build. We also discovered, unfortunately, as we find pretty much every time we use JYSK products, that something was either missing or broken. Not had a great experience of using them, but because their products are cheap, for some reason I keep going back. But yeah, you pay for what you get. So there's his bed, a nice white frame. Here's us bringing in his mattress. We did buy a brand new mattress, and he insisted on using his old one. I said, "No, mate, you can have your new one." And he went, "No, I don't want it. I want the old one." So the new one's gone in the guest room, and he's kept his old mattress because he's weird. So this is him with his new bedding on. Just for the first nights, we threw him in there to see what he thought of his room, and as you'll see in a minute, he was absolutely over the moon with it. So really, really, really good result so far. Makeshift video of Xander's new bed in his new room. We managed to get the only one that's got a damaged bloody panel out the box, so our sod's law, but we'll get that piece replaced. So white bed, looks nice. What do you think of it, dude?
I love it.
You love it. Puppy loves it. And yeah, we've just brought his desk in as well. I'm going to do something with this, I think. Maybe a whiteboard, some shelves and stuff. So yeah, progress report, everybody. It's looking really nice in here. And this is your first night.
Yeah.
In your new room. Exciting. So a couple of days later, we had a delivery of a poster that I'd had made for Xander. I had a caricature of him as a Fortnite character made via a seller on Etsy, which was really cheap. It cost about £6, I think, for them to just do the design. And then I used their design, sent it to a printing company to have a maxi poster printed, and that cost about a tenner. So all in all, I think it was about 20 quid I paid for that. And then the frame was £17.99. I bought 4 of those from eBay. Those are maxi poster, as I mentioned before, and it's just a great way of being able to tailor the room without having to worry too much about changing things other than a poster in a frame. Now, I did measure from the top. Probably should have done the bottom looking back at it, but I just thought it would make sense to measure from the top to the floor. And then I made sure that all of them around the room were that same height. Why did I pull that face then? God knows, very weird. So in case you've never bought command strips, these are them. And they're nice and straightforward, very, very good because they don't cause any damage. So I use those on all pictures now. And here's his bedside table. I actually bought 2 of these and they are beautiful. So the frames are in for the wardrobe here. These are the packs by IKEA. I'm not boxing them in, I know you can, but I'll probably box in this backside because I've had to put a piece of wood up there, which I'll probably show you on the screen in a sec. That is visible. Obviously I'm gonna have to box that in to make it look prettier, but it's not protruding out the side. I couldn't really cut it any shorter either because there's a screw right on the side there. So the only other thing was to bring it to like here, but then it would still look a bit crap. So there's a bit of wood on show, but not terrible. I can always paint the end of it for now. And I've got a few tricks up my sleeve for when it's all screwed and bolted together. But for now, that's the chassis done, and next for the doors and interior. So the, I call them chassis, are now in for the wardrobes. And as you can probably tell from my voice, I am now thinking I need to do something with this. I can't have a shadow gap that big at the back. I just can't. I'll put a piece of wood across the back to screw this into, save me putting loads of holes in my wall. But the gap is just ridiculous. That looks terrible. The reason that looks like that is originally we were having a freestanding wardrobe from JYSK. We then bought 2 beds from JYSK. Both of them had problems. There were parts missing from the box. They were dirty. I had all these issues. And I was like, well, I can't now buy a wardrobe from there. So we bought the IKEA packs, which is great. But these really look better when they're fitted. And excuse that, they're not connected together like those yet. But I can't have that. This has got to come out. So I've drawn a pencil line. I'm going to multi-tool that out. And then we can shimmy the whole thing backwards towards the wall. The challenge then is I'm going to have to put 6 anchor points into the wall to keep it safe. And just more mess and work. But it will look better in the end, and we won't have this ridiculous big space at the back. So it'll be worth it in the end, as always. And this is my brand new skirting, which I had to cut with a multi-tool and remove. So result, happier voice, hopefully. The shadow gap is nowhere near as bad now. It is touching at the top, it is touching at the bottom. Still going to be a gap because it's an old house. Walls are never flat. This, I've decided I'm going to put another piece of skirting here, which will kind of hide those, plaster over the ones that you can't see, touch up the caulking and everything, so that will look integrated. Might do a trim down the back yet, not decided, but we'll see. Everything is in, everything is safe, secure, bolted to the wall. It is not going anywhere. And the best bit, you know I'm a sucker for one of these, when we stick it on there, where are we? It's lovely, isn't it? So that's what we want. So everything's looking good. And now we can start putting shelves, inserts, rails, drawers and doors on. This was my first experience of using the PAX wardrobes. I'll be honest, I've never thought to buy them because I thought they were quite expensive, but I see why. They're just an absolutely ingenious invention, and we are going to use these again on other rooms in the house, certainly in our own bedroom. So in this design we went for some of these baskets for things like pajamas, underpants, t-shirts, to put 3 of those, and then a load of different shelves and things as well. We also got some cool doors for him. So as you'll see here, putting the shelving in, which was really straightforward, very simple to do. And also really pleased with how the finished design came out. So I've done about 9 hours on this project today in total, with all the tinkering and fetching of bits. This is some pre-primed wood. I don't know the size, but it's not very big. And I've got a little project for this. This is where the project in my mind gets fun. The boring and annoying and tedious stuff's done, and now it's the fun stuff. So this is going to get glued to the top, so I have something to attach to. So I'm going to show you. And this has been cut to size, which is the full length of the top. So let's document that. So now it's time to do something I've been really looking forward to doing, which is wiring in some of these. These are Govee strip lights. They're a light that has the milky white, come up here, has the milky white coverings on. The channels are included, the lights are included, there's 60 LEDs per meter, so it's quite close. They do end up making a really lovely finish. I'm trying to do a recording, mate. Can I do that? Let's put these up. So inside the box, I've got 2 boxes. You get your usual manual setup guide. It's always a quick start guide, doesn't really tell you anything about the product. Always well packaged. And I have already opened one of these, so I know what to expect, but basically inside here you get your lights. These are where most of the money goes. These are very fancy RGBIC lights, individually controlled. That's what's after the red, green and blue reference. And there's also a power supply, though I won't need that because I have got one already, and I'm going to connect the 2 together. So the rest of these are the channels that you use to go around your room. So you stick these on your walls. They have the 3M sticky pads already attached on the back. And then once they're in place and you've attached your lights, you then stick your white milky panel on top. Oh, a cat's in shot now as well. It's like living on a bloody farm in here. So that's what it looks like when it's on the wall. The light will obviously be in there because of the nice high gap, which is about 2 centimeters, so approximately an inch tall. You end up with a really nice line where you don't see any hot spots. So it means you can't see any individual lights in the track. It's all one blurred continuous light structure, which looks really, really nice. So I'm going to put these around the room and then, yeah, let's document it.
Are you ready?
So I've started in that corner. I've put trunking all the way up the wall, which I may well paint just so it's exactly colour matched. I can do that at a later date. Annoyingly, Govee put one of those remotes to turn it on and off like a few inches down from the start of the cable. It's just annoying. I wish you didn't have to have that, but you do, unfortunately. So I've run it up here. I've run it along the side of the wardrobe. I've run it along the top. I'm going to go down the wall here. And these are designed with corners that either go in or out. I'll have to show you in a minute. But what I've had to do is make my own corner here to go down. So I've literally just cut it at a 45 there and a 45 here, and hopefully, look at that. Really nice tight fit. So that's going to look lovely, and hopefully in a minute when we test it, that should look fine. So that goes all the way down to there. So I'm just going to cut a little foot for the bottom of it down there, and I've just got to cut a piece to go in that gap, and then we can turn it on and see if it all works. Really excited. Very straightforward at the bottom. You actually have end points, so it's like a white cube that just makes it look a bit neater. So I just pushed a little piece onto the end there, and then just pop this little kind of cap thing to make it look nice and finished at the end. Do that on the other end as well, just makes it look loads better. And then I just want to show you this really cool 3D printed light switch cover that my friend Dave from work made for me on his 3D printer. I rattle canned it black, painted the white lettering with the same white paint as the walls, and then just disconnected the light and put it back on. Looks beautiful. So here's a progress report, everybody. Furniture's in, a few personal effects just to make it look good. I put these shelves on the sides. These are from JYSK. These were about 12 quid each, and I put one on the other side as well. Just again for Lego, because that's the main thing that he's got is Lego. So those are there. Put some lights behind the bed as well, which I'll put on in a sec. And these are his posters. As I say, what we're going to do now is just change his posters. By the way, this here is a plug socket ready for when he gets a TV. He's not having one yet, but when he does, it's already plugged in ready. So we've just got a night light in there at the moment. He likes his K-pop stuff, so we've put that on there. And we've also got lots of Fortnite themed things as well. Before I show you this room in the dark, which is going to be the finale to this video, just wanted you to appreciate the final kind of video of this lighting from Govee. So it's wired to go along there, and then I've done the bend around the top of his wardrobe, then along the wardrobe. Now one kit came to just here, that was 5 meters, and I didn't want it to just end there, so I bought another one. They actually connect together, and then ran that one along there and all the way down the wall. So really happy with how this room has come out. It does look lovely. It does look really big as well. I think the dog enjoys it. Do you like it, puppy? Nice. Yeah. So time for a finale, I think. You really do want to see this when the lights are off.